Greetings my fellow collectors, Orange Hedgehog 2012 here, and today in this video I'm going to be revisiting and re-reviewing the Toy Island Sonic X Rouge the Bat figure. So about 5 or 6 years ago I made a video about this lovely Batgirl lady. The quality on that was really poor. You could not see the actual detail to this figure, and I always thought years later I wanted to sort of revisit this figure and do like a re-review for you guys, and also because I find these videos quite interesting and fun to make. So yeah guys, this figure came out in around about, I would say between 2005 and 2007. Do correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not 100% sure on that. But these were released in both the US and the UK. I didn't actually, to be honest, I never really saw these in person. I do believe they were released in sort of stores like Argos, which is like a catalogue sort of company that obviously you buy all your bits and bobs from. And it's sort of them stores that you go in and you select what you want to buy and you write down the item number and how much you want. You go and pay for it and then you wait for it to be presented to you. So yeah, apart from that I never really saw these figures in person, to be honest. So never actually knew they released a Rouge the Bat figure until years later, when obviously Sonic X came out, and yeah, one of my favourite cartoons. Let me know in the comments down below, what was your favourite Sonic cartoon? Was it the Satam Adventures? Was it Sonic X? Or was it Sonic Underground? Let me know, I'd love to hear that. So yeah guys, so this figure measures around about 5 inches in height, and it was released along with other characters in the set. There was different waves I believe as well, so obviously you had Sonic, Tails and Knuckles. You also had I believe Amy. I'll have to double check on that, but obviously you've got Rouge here. Obviously Shadow came out as well. Yeah, really cool figures indeed. So starting off with a head first. Now what I love about these figures is, although they did come with very little articulation, the actual sculpt for these figures were really well made. Made by the US company Toy Island, back in sort of the mid to sort of late-ish 2000s there. Now this figure is made from like a hollow plastic, and the rest of her body is made from sort of like a heavier sort of solid plastic. But as you can see here from the head. Now if you're wondering where I got mine from eBay UK, yeah, about 5 or 6 years ago, possibly more, I'm not 100% sure. And I paid around £30 for her, because originally when she was listed, she was listed for about £50, which is really expensive I thought for such a sort of like a kid sort of like toy really. And I made an offer and I think we both came to an agreement for £30, which I thought was a really good deal. Nowadays these figures don't really come up that often for sale, but when they do, prices for these are really astronomical, considering when they were first sort of released. So what I love about this figure is obviously the sculpt. The only thing I don't like about this figure is the bottom part of her muzzle, where the plastic has been moulded. You can see obviously bits where it hasn't sort of come off properly, it's sort of remained. That's if you're sort of a collector, then sometimes for some collectors it really does sort of like, yeah, a bit of a pain in the arse, but I suppose it gives the figure some charm really, and uniqueness. So starting off with the head itself is made from like a hollow plastic, and I think as well if you shine it up to the light you can actually see through it. Now these aren't, as far as I'm aware, they're not hand painted figures. I could be wrong to be honest, but some of these are applied with like transfers. But what I love, especially for the in sections to her ears, it has sort of like a glazed sort of look to it, especially for the in sections. I love the fact that they've actually done, rather than keeping it just one tone, they've used 2 separate tones for her ears. And the actual outer section does have a little bit of a gloss to it, which is really nice. Now as for her, I do find with these figures, especially for Rouge, the actual eye, where the actual mould is and the way that the transfer has been placed on, it's always wonky. It's never sort of like, as you can just about see right there, it's yeah, it's missing. It's almost like the actual outline is too big, but still it's really nice. You've got sort of different shades of blue for eyeline and also her eyes, which is really nice. Mine does have some marks here and there, but apart from that, she's in really good shape. You can see her muzzle there. Love the fact that they've actually tried to go for like a sort of a lipstick sort of design there. So rather than leaving the actual sort of mould, they've actually sort of painted it, which is really nice. So moving down to her lower part of her body, you can see her heart-shaped sort of breastplate there. I love the fact they've actually sort of like, you can show, or you can actually see the actual detail to her chest area. Just give you sort of like a front and sort of side. Because what I've noticed, especially now, especially for Rouge, they seem to sort of, obviously, I suppose as well because this was more geared towards kids, they've completely sort of almost censored this part here. That's what I love about Japan, is they are completely sort of crazy. I love it. Really nice. Absolutely love the pink tone they've actually used. You can see her catsuit. Now the catsuit itself is almost like purple in a way. It's sort of like a purpley sort of black. On camera it looks a lot darker, but it's a lot lighter in person, but it's more so sort of purple, which is really interesting. You can see her arms. Now as for articulation, it's very limited, so essentially you can just move her arms up to her head, round about there, like so. While I'm here, I might as well show you the actual her legs and stuff. Legs themselves are very limited, so you can just literally do that. So nothing really sort of fancy compared to the Jazzwares ones, but then again I found the Jazzwares figures were a bit too articulated, which caused them to break more. Whereas I find with these figures they're a lot more sturdier, a lot more sort of better quality, and a lot more longer. They sort of last longer. That's what I was trying to say. So you can sculpt to her gloves and her hands. Love this figure. It's my favourite figure of Rouge in my collection. You can see I think this might be actually the paint. I thought originally it was like a biro mark, but I think it's like the paint for her from her catsuit. You can see her boots there. I love the creases they've actually kept. It's really cool. I do like that. So rather keeping it sort of smooth, they've actually sort of like incorporated a lot of her character and her design. You can see the actual heart-shaped tip to her boots, and underneath it's lovely and glossed. Really do like that, and light grey. So if we turn around, I'll show the back of her head. Her hairstyle flicking up. And at the back she does have two screws, one for her wings. Now the wings themselves are very fragile. They're just made of a sort of rubbery type plastic, so I can imagine this figure being played with a lot, the wings actually snapping off. See there for her where her bum is. Her tail, there are some areas where the paint has rubbed off, but the tail as well I think was very renowned for snapping off. The back of her boots. So I highly recommend this figure if you can get it for a reasonable price, but even loose it can be quite expensive, but I'm really happy and glad to actually have her in my collection. So yeah, that's been my revisit and re-review there guys on the Toy Island Rouge the Bat figure from the Sonic X franchise from Orange Hedgehog 2012. So I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. As always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you again soon. I'm also on social media on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to follow me, then I will follow you back. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.